Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and evidently I made a video last week. It was entitled, I think, for an orthodontist only, like Advanced Invisalign. You guys will see it. It's about 2 videos before this one. And I guess either my train of thought, it was a very long video, and I kept having issues with the audio cutting off. And I was in a different city, and issues with the Wi-Fi, audio was cutting off, issues with the audio. So I think it cut off at the end, and I missed the big all-encompassing sequential distalization section. I had quite a lot of you email me on this. So I'm gonna try to just talk about the SD, which is the part that everyone's asking about, to the best of my recollection. I did manage to find my notes. So woo, I didn't have them before, so that's why it took me a little while to do it. But let's talk about SD. So I'm sure you guys can go into my YouTube channel, put in the keyword sequential distalization. Remember, autocorrect does not know the word distalization, so it's gonna try to change the spelling of it. But as far as I know, this is the spelling. Put it in, and all my content on SD will come up. My content on this has evolved over the years. I keep all my old content up just because, you know, the fundamentals are in there. But to be honest, Invisalign changes their education on this, and so do other aligner companies. And it is a concept we've had in braces, which is why I always tell you guys, you must learn braces in phase 1 before you really get good at Invisalign, because you won't understand it. The mechanics are all based on Straightwire and phase 1 growth modification airway. So that is how we do Invisalign. You know, this is how we do any clear aligner. So that is why I'd love for you guys to learn that first. You can get all that content from my YouTube channel. It is free. I have a playlist just for braces and a playlist just for phase 1. Or if you want a more trimmed down, concise version that gives CE, I have a very affordable courses. You can get those at straightsmilesolutions.com. Go to classes. They come down to about between $40 and $44 per CE unit. They are administered by a different company, a third-party company that runs it. So it'll just take you to their link and you can take that course. I don't really care how you learn it, just learn it. Anyways, okay, so let me just give you the updates. I'm not gonna go into why we do sequential distalization, how it works, because that is in my previous videos. All I'm gonna do is give you the updates in this video. So basically a couple new things I learned in this Advanced Invisalign class about SD, and these clearly were new things to every doctor in there. So this isn't something that's been out there. It's just, you know, over time, they're finding new ways and better ways to pick cases for this. So I know initially when I first started doing it, I thought sequential distalization was the best thing since sliced bread. I still think it is for cases where you toss the CBCT in the plan, you realize, shoot, I don't have the bone. Or perio says you don't have the bone. Don't procline, don't expand, right? Okay, well, what if it's like super crowded and the max we can do with IPR is 5.5 millimeters, right? Or a lower incisor extraction is 7 millimeters, but what about the top, right? Can't take out a front tooth on top. So what if we need more than 5 or 7 millimeters of space? What are our options? Well, yeah, sure, you could take out premolars, but no one wants to do that if they don't have to. What if what if there was a case that had a lot of crowns and veneers and we couldn't do IPR, right? That's really, well, if it's posterior crowns, it's still not a good case for sequential distalization because you really need attachments and you can't really put those on easily, especially depending on the porcelain, so or metal. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely cases for SD where someone doesn't want their teeth cut and they don't want their teeth pulled out, and it is a predictable way to completely preserve the enamel on teeth as long as you have healthy teeth that you can drag and healthy bone. So that is why I always, and this was reiterated in the class, you must have CPCT in your SD plan. If you don't, it's going to be unpredictable. You want to take a lot of x-rays every 2 to 3 months and just keep your eye on it. If you're starting to see tipping or mobility, or you're having tracking issues and you know they're wearing them, well, then there's something wrong with your bone and it's not working. So the nice part is if you throw the CBCT in the plan, you can see if the bone is uneven. We don't want to be doing any uneven bone, like from a either a sagittal perspective or a transverse perspective. We want nice, and you want to make sure you're not running into the ramus or the tuberosity. You need to have nice, flat, even bone on both sides to bring that tooth in. And remember, lower bone is a lot more dense than upper bone, and the older they get, the more dense they are. And if they're on medications that make their bone dense, this is not going to work. You're going to get root resorption and or mobility and or damage the tooth. So that's why you have to monitor these cases routinely. So those were really the main things. I think you guys wanted to know about the difference between the 3 different types of sequential distalization. That's the most common question. So this was something new for me, and you can ask for these in your Clincheck now. I do not know if you can ask for these in ClearCorrect or other stuff. I feel like this is just an Invisalign thing. You can try asking or explain what you want, but they are saying that there's 3 different types of sequential distalization. Now, I did not see this when I submit the case. You know, they've improved things on the submission. So with MA, for example, I can choose blocks or wings, right? The different ways I can use the MA. There's always lots of options on, you know, if there's a deep bite case, I can do absolute intrusion of the incisors, relative extrusion of the molars and premolars, or a combination of both. Those are options I can pick. I have to steer the boat. I have to say how I'm going to do those movements. Same thing with SD now. There's 3 different ways. I did not see it yet on the submission, but I'm going to tell you what they are, and you can tell them what you want. You can pick sequential distalization, but as far as I know, they don't let you pick how. So for the lower, you always want to do true sequential distalization. True sequential distalization. So that is just the standard old-fashioned moving 1 tooth at a time. That means we're dragging back the 7s fully to where we want them first, then the 6s on both sides, then the 5s, then the 4s. And then we do 3 to 3 en masse because we have the full anchorage in the back, and we might add some elastics to finish that up. Easy breezy, right? Do you need elastics during sequential distalization? That really depends on if you're doing both arches or one arch. If the patient is class 3, class 2, I can't say. Each case is different. It also really depends on the bone. I mean, there's sometimes you definitely need the anchorage, and there's sometimes you don't. Okay, so that is the standard sequential distalization. It's like the way it's always been, right? Okay, there's a new one, which is called compact SD. And sometimes when you ask for SD, you look at the plan and you're like, yeah, that's standard. You see 1 tooth at a time. And sometimes you see the compact, which is like, ooh, they're moving kind of 2 teeth at a time, and then they're moving the next 2 teeth before the other ones get back. That makes sense to me because a lot of times I'm like, gosh, this takes 20 aligners just to move 1 tooth, and then another 15 to 20 aligners just to move the next molar, and then 10 to move the premolar, and then 10 to move the next premolar, and now we're at 90 aligners. This takes forever, right? So I always have said, sometimes I'm like, oh, come on, man. We can start moving that other molar sooner, hopefully, especially if we're going 3 millimeters or so on top. That's right. I mean, you figure how much you can move per aligner. I mean, that's going to take forever, right? To move a giant 3 to 4 rooted tooth all the way back. So compact is, I'm going to read the directions. Compact sequential distalization is where many teeth distalize. I did that wrong. I am so sorry. I'm too lazy to retreat this. Okay. Clear your brain. Okay. Compact sequential distalization is the one you don't want. I'm so sorry. Improved. So improved sequential, this is why I pull up my notes. Improved sequential distalization, terrible names, whoever came out with this. For any segment of teeth staged more sequentially, each tooth starts moving 2 stages after the previous tooth. Okay, improved. So you either want standard sequential or improved. You do not want compact. That's where they try to just do it's basically like en masse. They're just, it's not gonna happen. So uppers can be either standard sequential or improved. Most people were using improved. You know, especially if they slowed it down and it was like a reasonable amount of trays for upper. Lower must be standard sequential, improved sequential. Upper, you can do either. I mean, obviously if you're doing, the nice thing about moving on the upper faster is that it's going to look better quicker. But if you're doing upper and lower, like 4 quads at SD, you can't really do that because your lower is going to take a long time already. We already have to do the standard. It's going to move 1 at a time. So your lower is going to take a long time. And you get anterior contacts. You would, let's say it was like a Bimax case without crowding, right? You'd have collisions if you did the improved on top and the sequential on bottom. So it really just depends on the case, how much clearance you have, if you can do improved on the top or standard sequential on the top, and don't do compact. Okay, that's pretty much all I had there. Hopefully this helps. I will try to remember everyone who messaged me and let them know that I've updated this. All right, thanks so much.